This show is female dominant, it has 3 female leads, and we're all women of color, and that is so cool.
I'm standing on the edge, and everything I know is blown away.
Bex, I feel like is just quintessential cool, you know? She knows herself, she knows her style, she rides a motorcycle, she's been across America. Everybody aspiring to be cool, wants to be Bex, I feel like. What's so great about Bex is that Terry Minsky, the show creator, allowed me to put a lot of myself into that character. I could improvise lines sometimes, and Terry would be like, I really like that, let's use that. And Bex also uses humor to deflect. And I relate to that so well. In that sense, I could really enjoy when Bex was being snarky or just wanted to kind of have a Daria attitude of I don't know if this is for me. I was so much like Andi growing up. It's weird. I love crafts. I was kind of awkward, kind of a little bit of a know-it-all, you know? I like that I was academically pretty on top of it, you know? I mean, Andi is Andi's a genius, and I was kind of there.
Well, I think as the show follows her, going headfirst into her teenage years, she's really finding out she wants to be. And I can definitely relate to that, finding where you fit in the world. And I think that that's something that not only me, but that everybody and kids around the world can relate to, really figuring out where you belong.
Celia is the matriarch of the family, and she is the pin that's holding everything together. And so she might come across as a bit controlling, but sometimes that's required in order to keep all of these massive pieces together. Of course, what's gluing them together is love, and we can't forget that part. But a lot of times I think when people are controlling, it's because they're pretty chaotic on the inside, and there's been some huge changes going on in the family. And so it's human nature to kind of want to grip, to hold things together, because human beings don't like change. And so hopefully the audience will be able to relate to the characters who are going through so much change and know that they're not alone, and that the struggles they may be feeling, they can watch us dealing with and hopefully coming through it okay.
Bex's rebellion comes from that environment that's crushing her, Celia is a certain way. She wants things done a certain way. And either you're going to just let that wash into you, as we see in Andi, where she's now I want things done a certain way, or you're going to fight against it, if you don't like it, if it feels too oppressive. And so Bex said, you know what, this is too oppressive for me, I'm out of here. And I think just sprung out.
Celia has great intention. She wants for her kids their happiness, their safety, their success. And what parent doesn't want that? It's just the manner in which you try to achieve that for your kids. So I have a lot of compassion for Celia, because being a parent is just a series of letting go. And it's really hard to let go.
So as the series goes on, what's exciting is that we're going to see Andi grow, but we're also going to see Bex grow. We're going to see Celia grow. What's great is that, when Bex comes home with all of her literal baggage, it's changing everyone's life, and we're all figuring it out together. And Bex is such a great example of a grown-up who still needs to grow up.
There's this real adolescence, for lack of a better word, adolescence. There's this real theme of adolescence and finding your way throughout the story. So I think we can all relate to that, and everybody who's going through this period of time in their lives, like Peyton said, can really relate to that.
Well, something I can relate to Buffy is she's going through things that, all teenagers go through. Growing up is always something that I don't think anyone wants to do. Becoming a teenager and just finding your way through the world, as they said, and having different problems at school or just in your life in general.
I can relate to him. He's really thoughtful and sensitive, and he really tries to care for everyone he can.
When I first saw Andi Shack, I was so jealous. She is so creative, and that's just amazing how Peyton plays Andi. She's so creative at such a young age, and I definitely wasn't that creative.
Definitely, I was scribbling something.
Yeah, I wish I was, and I like to fantasize that I was. But I wasn't that creative and as artsy as she was, but I think a lot of kids are going to look up to that.
My reaction when I read the plot twist was, sounds like the same as your reaction when you saw it. I was like, this is different. It really like made that whole show for me. I'm like, this is something special. This is something new, and I want to be a part of it, you know. And I called my representation. I was like, I got it. I want this show. I think it's so important for Disney to have a show like this because I really think it does a good job of reflecting real life. You know, our families are not going to be perfect, and there's going to be problems, and everything's not going to be rosy and sunny all the time. But that doesn't mean there's not light moments as well. You know, just because you're dealing with heavy stuff in your life doesn't mean that you're not also having fun with your friends and navigating that world as well. So I think it's a very accurate portrayal of the things that you face as a teenager. On top of that, this show is female dominant. It has 3 female leads, and we're all women of color. And I think that's so cool. As an Asian American, it's so gratifying to be part of a show that not only has this representation, but we're running the show. We're in front of the camera, and we are the main characters, and that is so cool.
A huge message that's in the show that I think fans really need to know is that they're not the only people feeling these teenage emotions, you know? They're not the only ones out there feeling embarrassed in front of their crush or being mad at their parents or getting in fights with their friends, you know? Those are emotions and scenarios that all kids growing up go through. And I think it's really nice to have something on the air that kids don't like look up to and think, oh, I wish I could be like that, but more as something they can watch and think that they're equals with them, you know, and see something on the screen where they're represented. And I think that's really special about this show.
Click to the left for 10 stars who almost played iconic Disney Channel roles, and click to the right for 6 Disney Channel shows that need revivals.